Scoundrels web series and podcast is filmed and recorded in their ship, the Centurion Vulture, and may contain language not suitable for all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Scoundrels, y'all. We are broadcasting from the Centurion Vulture. I am CG.
I am Paul Bannister.
Curtis Wayne Miller standing by.
We are three grown-ass men, per usual, here to discuss... I do this every week, to discuss Star Wars.
Tongue turner.
And of course, these days, we continue to discuss the glorious Andor series. We are now back to trying to get one episode of this per episode of the show. So we will be discussing episode 9, which I believe was called Nobody's Listening! Exclamation point.
Yeah. We're
I'm
technically
listening
caught up.
I'm listening.
to all of the many intriguing plot points that are going on. I almost feel like for the sake of this conversation, we can start kind of going through each of the main storylines
Yeah,
and
I
characters
think
and
it's a
kind of
great
like
idea.
picking apart each one. I think that one that's, well, they're all really interesting, and
Yeah.
I'm stoked on all of them. There's not one thought thread from a plot standpoint that I'm not excited.
Yeah,
to
there
see
isn't one when they
Yeah.
go to it. I'm like, eh.
Yeah, which is great. But one of the things that was really fun in this episode was seeing that Mon Mothma's cousin
Yeah.
is
Vel.
Oh, yeah.
Vel. What do we say her name?
Vel.
Vel. So that was a cool little twist that I didn't see coming.
No.
And
Who's cuter between the two? Who's the hotter of the cousins? We could answer that later.
Yeah, it's a nice family. It's a nice
maybe
little
we'll
family.
run a poll.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
let the listeners decide. Let the viewers decide. It's really great. I think what's fun about that connection is that it shows the depth of which these people are all connected and how much it kind of emphasizes the sacrifice. So what it tells me is that she's also comes from affluence is kind of what I'm getting at.
yeah.
And the fact that these two women, in the face of having all the resources that one would want in the world, are willing to potentially jeopardize all of that for this cause, which of course makes sense, but it does keep to remind the stakes for them. What I find interesting about the Mon Mothma storyline in this episode is at what point is it in her interest to still be like that scene where she's in the Senate, and everyone's kind of not listening to
cool.
her and it's kind of like falling on deaf ears. It seems like if she doesn't want people to know that she's potentially anti-imperial.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Why is she pushing so hard at this point with everything getting scary and spooky and the New Order? You'd think at some point she'd sort of dial back the Empire is pushing too hard rhetoric, right?
Yeah, almost like, hey, I should, be for the Emperor during the Senate and then behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I thought that
Did
was
she
interesting.
say something at one point how that kind of was worked in her favor to sort of like they wouldn't expect?
Yeah, she said
someone...
if I do this so that people will hopefully not notice what I'm really doing.
Yeah.
Which was fun and interesting, but you do wonder now. It's like, well, if she's so anti-imperial actively in the Senate, it seems like she'd be the first person if the Empire's looking at senators they thought would be such. They're like this really affluent, rich woman with lots of resources and influence that is publicly down on all the moves we're making.
She's close. She's a little Icarus, a
So
little
we'll
close
have,
to the
we'll
sun
have to
here.
see how that
She's flying
plays
a little
out.
close to the sun.
close
I was
to the
curious
sun.
if the Emperor was going to turn up in that.
Man, every time I see that room,
Well, it also was interesting because I think I just kind of forgot or underestimated where in the timeline of the Empire's development. Like, I guess at some point, does he formally dissolve the Senate completely?
That's a good question.
I thought that.
You know what though?
Yeah.
You looked at me very seriously.
Did I?
And
Tell me.
I
must
think
know.
they've discussed it in that little chamber room, that little room where they're having the meeting, how like the Death Star could be like, how they can just be like, fuck you to all the Imperial Senate will never go for this.
That's right.
Some sort of shit.
Yeah.
And then like,
That's right.
and he's like, well, it doesn't matter because we have a massive dick gun.
Correct.
that can balls that shoot.
That fucking just destroys planets.
We have this trump card. Maybe pun intended, which is
True
the
that.
Death Star. Which, by the way, more so than any other episode, each episode that plays out, maybe I'm just sensitive to this, but I feel like Gilroy might be doing a little bit of a commentary on the current state of affairs with this show a little bit.
Probably.
Like government overreach and unchecked blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Well, it's such a cool. It's like, and everything about this show, I'm on the edge of my seat, and I see some people say like the pace. It's a little. So it's like, I think the pace of it creates that tension.
Agreed.
I think if it was any faster, we'd lose that tension. Because I mean, like I say it every week, I am nervous, and it's
How many more episods is there?
There's what, 3?
3, yeah, 3.
Wow.
And every
Okay.
little detail, like he mentioned, or Vel, I forget her girlfriend's name. She says you were just a rich girl, when they were arguing, when they were on Ferric, scoping out Cassian's house. Mm-hmm. So I love those little hints. And did you notice the music? The intro music was different.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
I noticed.
the
I
same-
didn't notice it, but I noticed it.
But like, there's little things like that just pique my curiosity. And I love the opening scene. Did you guys catch? Did you guys catch the camera shot homage in one of the first scenes?
Yeah,
with Bex.
Tell me which one did you
It's
saw?
when they were interrogating Bex.
It's the same camera
In the
move
same
from where
A
they
New
kind
Hope.
of panned over
With the
to
door
the feet,
closed.
and they panned
feet.
over to the feet.
It's the same as New Hope Leia interrogation.
That was always a strange shot to me. I often wonder if that was a mistake that they kept in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it was a cool. I don't know if you guys.
I didn't pick up on that.
It's shot for shot the same. Feet, door closed down, and then to watch the guard walk by.
I was curious if they were going to bring out that black probe with that needle on it.
yeah.
When,
That's what I thought
when
they
they
were
had
doing.
like this new tech.
And
Yeah.
how dark was that scene? The interrogate, like the
Yeah.
doctor, like talking about
That
how.
shit, so it's basically like the sound of a species of children being murdered just is so upsetting that it makes people break down.
Yeah.
Is that the way you guys
Yes.
understood it as
Yes.
well?
Well, that's what they said. They took any means necessary, and they had to listen to make sure that the job was done after they killed all these people on the moon. And they found the workers listening to it, huddled on the bottom of like the basement of the bridge. Like,
Yeah.
oh, let's use this to interrogate.
Yeah, this is a good way to make people fucking miserable.
That's kind of
but-
wild. It's a very in-depth operation.
It's really also just fun from a writing standpoint. It's like they're just clearly, I mean, it's dark and intense, but the level of detail, like they didn't need to come up with this whole mini backstory for the interrogation tactic,
Right.
but they did. And those little flourishes are what help create the world and make it feel so deeply satisfying.
Yeah,
'Cause
great
at every
point.
nook and cranny of the story, there's depth.
Yes.
And but more importantly, inspired depth. It's not shitty or doesn't feel
No.
unearned
Or like,
cheap.
like what the fuck?
yeah.
You're like, damn, fuck, all right.
And I love and just how the story he's able to move. We're in the same place, but the story's moving forward, and you're getting context without having to know like more dialogue. Like going to Andor in the prison, and he's being him. He's kind of won over everybody.
Yeah.
He's kind of that leader that like
Yeah.
everyone goes to him. He's kind of taking the charge.
Yep.
They're cutting the water pipe. Like
He's a natural leader.
he's a natural leader, and it was just kind of fun watching his charm in that prison scene. And just that prison, like you said, you could do a whole show on just that
Yeah.
prison. And every cut scene, you got that, and then you have Karn. Like
I know.
I was loving his like justice boner for Marrow.
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
just-
that was the one I was gonna pivot to next. It's really interesting to me, and I'm having fun with that storyline because I can't. Every episode I pivot on where I think it's going.
Yeah.
Like at one point we talked about previously, he might end up a rebel because he keeps trying to be pro-Empire but hits walls every time he does, and now he's got like you said, a major justice boner stalking this woman.
Oh, he's in love with her.
But
Yeah.
now, that's what I'm wondering. Is this going to turn into like a romantic story?
Maybe her shutting him down will cause him to, or they're good. But I mean, he's like even if
But he seems like he's like obviously unstable.
yes,
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, is he gonna have a romance for her, but then that's gonna blow up because?
Or
he's
is he
not-
going to become like one of those gross, like kind of like, is he going to go off and like be like evil, like a rebel, but evil?
yeah,
Yeah,
he's creep.
Right.
Obviously, kind of a creep. He's been stalking her and like. He's obviously in
Like a
love with
Joker
her and-
style character.
He's
Fuck,
like,
I don't know-
I come
I don't
down
know why
here
I
to
keep
watch.
bringing that
Like,
up.
are you stalking me?
yeah. I mean, but it's fun because I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know if he's
Like, is he
end
going to
up-
be like a supervillain, so to speak?
It could be.
Yeah,
I mean,
could be. He certainly got the like neuroses of a supervillain. If he could somehow get into a position of power.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Again, this might be the fun of the series. It's hard to picture what gets him from his lowly position now to being in a position of influence within the Empire, to be a crazy
I
psycho
feel
bad
like
guy.
something big at the end of this season is going to happen with him. Like just
He
like,
might be too socially wacky to actually fit in the Empire.
yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, maybe.
But
or maybe
he's pretty like he loves rules.
I was gonna say he might be the perfect guy
He might
because
be,
all
yeah.
he's like almost
Or he-
like autistic level focused on
or he becomes
the rules of the Empire,
or like a real higher up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like a Hitler type of character.
Yeah, right.
Or like he's fucking crazy as shit, but he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
Or again, I could still see it being the case, Curtis, to your initial theory early in the series, that what they're doing to demonstrate the depth of his belief in the Empire is only to show how gutted he's going to feel when he officially gets screwed over by the Empire, which will explain his swing to the other side. Because it's like he had to be so fanatical and be such a believer in the Empire to justify why he goes the other direction, because it means that he'll be that devastated.
Oh yeah.
If
But
the
whatever
Empire
happens,
basically is like, fuck off.
He won't be a black or white character. He'll be like he might do some good, but it'll come from like a really crazy place.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He's definitely the psycho in the scenario. For
You do
sure.
feel for the son of a bitch because he's obviously mentally ill.
Yeah.
Well, and his mom is just like,
She's
Uncle
fucking crazy, too.
Harlow will
Yeah.
be so pleased. I love her. Like, and every
She's-
there isn't I can't think of one character in this show that I'm like, I don't like them at all.
She's a great
And they're
actress.
all
Such a character.
Yeah. By the way, where did Bix end up at the end of the episode? She's just
She's
still in,
being held at that hotel
just
that they
indefinitely, just
Yeah.
holding on to her.
because
Okay.
apparently she's the only one that can identify the access.
They didn't
access.
intimate what they were doing with her at this point.
No, they got the
Okay.
information. They obviously got the information
Yeah, right.
they needed from her. They wanted. She said, "Keep her alive because she's the only one who can identify the buyer."
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And
that's
then
right,
they're gonna.
that's
I
right.
think they're gonna hang the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Which might create a. Oh,
I feel like
something's wrong with a
Oh yeah, shit.
little malfunction.
I
That's
feel
all right.
like that's gonna be a thing. You're right.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's gonna be some sort of like, are they gonna have to show up and bust her out? You know, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. It's just fun. You can feel with 3 episodes left that we're moving all the chess pieces around again and positioning them. It's almost like the season's happening in 2 swings. We had the big build up in the first 6 episodes to the 6th episode, and we're doing it again.
The heist.
So we're building the tension. So the big release.
Because like they're really not given a choice now.
Yeah.
No. They're in
They
too
have
deep.
to get it out of there.
I think Cassian's mom is gonna do something dramatic.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I
she's
think
kind of and like she kind of has a death wish.
Yeah.
Well, she's definitely going to die because I think that's a big part of what's going to push Andor over the edge of just saying, fuck this, I'm dedicating
Maybe
my life
she
towards
tries to
fighting
go
the
to get
Empire.
fixed because she was looking for the sewer. She was wondering if there was still access to the hotel underneath. So they mentioned that. And there's so many small details. Like you say, it's like I feel like you can't watch it stoned because there's so many little things. Like I don't know if the music, just more electronic opening music, means anything. It could mean nothing.
Yeah.
I
But
bet
it
you
could
it
mean
means something.
But that's the beauty
Yeah,
of this,
it's the
like
depth.
because every little like detail, like they gave the small hint about Val being a rich girl in episode 8, and
You're
it
a
turns
rich
out
girl.
she and then you find out the next episode that she's the cousin of Mon Mothma. So it's and then so we heard some new names. I
The
guess
Mothmas.
what is it? Ty.
Tay's the buddy.
Tay's the buddy of Mon Mothma.
But
and
who's this Kruger guy?
I looked it up. I didn't see anything about him. I think he's some kind of like probably boss thug.
Clearly going to show up at
What
some
if
point.
he's Uncle Harlow? If he's
Yeah, we still don't know who
if
fucking
there's some kind. That was my
H-bomb
thought
is.
because there's very much this like mob-like sense with Uncle Harlow, and then she didn't want to do business with this guy. He's super rich and super well connected. And Ty's like, well, you don't have a choice.
Is this the same guy that Luthen and Saul
No.
Guerrero were talking
that,
about?
That guy was old. He was the one that was captured, and I don't know if you noticed at the end when they were having that big hurry of the Emperor. Like, we got this guy that has information. I think what was his name? Krieger.
Yeah.
Krieger's the guy that I think got captured by the Emperor, and they're gonna basically kill him and make it look like an accident.
Is it? I got the sense it was someone who worked for
Or
Krieger.
maybe that was it. I think you're right.
yeah.
I think it was someone who worked for him. So it's kind of like you're seeing the walls kind of close in because Krieger's attached to Luthen, who's also attached to Saw, who's also attached to so.
I guess it's going to be really fun to see how they start to corral all the pieces together. Because, I mean, I guess my point about Mon Mothma getting the squeeze on more and more, and she's still outwardly anti-imperial in the Senate, it seems like she's going to have to bolt from Coruscant sooner than later.
But she does. She's obviously ends up with the rebels.
It almost seems surprising that she's not already talking about an exit strategy at this stage, to be honest.
and it's not an alliance yet.
Right.
It's just some cells, right?
Yeah.
It's just some people that are pissed off
Right.
about the way things are going.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can
Fascinating.
start to move them all together, and what is going to be the catalyst for. I mean, will it just be as simple as the prison experience was enough? I think it's going to be escaping from the prison, going back to Ferrix. Mom's gonna die and or go down in a blaze of glory, and then I think maybe I could see him trying to rescue Bix. Maybe it works, and she's a second season character.
Yeah.
Or honestly, maybe Bix is done too.
Yeah.
Maybe Bix and the
Motherfuckers are gonna need to die
and that's
before
kinda what I'm
Rogue One.
saying.
Well, we know there's the one guy that's also in the prison with Andor who's in Rogue One.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an Easter egg.
That's
Well,
right.
I guess it's not so much an Easter egg, but
Yeah.
it's like not something
pretty
you would-
open now.
I didn't know it until it was on the internet.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
either.
same.
That's the fun thing about the internet
Yeah.
sometimes.
The web.
The web.
The
old web.
Nice
the
work,
old,
internet.
Yeah, thank
fucking
you.
undefeated little bitch. Dude, what are they making in that prison? Do you think they're
Dude.
building the Death Star?
I still think it's Death Star
I think
parts.
it's Death Star parts.
That'd be sweet.
I think they're
that's
going
a
to
big
have
part of it.
some
like
kind of intel on
prison, what do you call it? Workforce to build your, like, you're kind of building your own, like, prison.
Yeah,
Also,
they're cheaper than droids and more expendable. Yeah.
Also,
that
how fucking badass is Andy Serkis?
he's-
That dude is a goddamn
that guy doesn't
genius.
miss.
He's a great
His
actor.
acting is so pitch perfect, even in small roles.
Yeah.
Because
Doesn't
he's
miss.
so intense, and it's so clear why he's so hyper motivated because he thinks he's going to get out. But that's the last scene of
Oh,
the
when they
episode.
find out?
When they find
Whoa.
out, and he's not even looking at him, and he asks him yet again how many guards,
Yeah,
and he's like,
no
no
more
more
than
than 12.
Yep.
That's like in that moment. That's the beauty of the acting and the writing is
Yeah.
all you need is those 3 words to know that this dude is officially shifted. He's not fucking around
Nope.
anymore.
He
I
worked
wonder
hard
why
as-
he hasn't gotten, like, leading roles.
I mean,
like,
a lot of. I mean, I started rewatching.
like
The
he's
Lord of the
Tom
Rings.
Hanks level, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's special.
he's insane.
He's really good.
I mean, he crushed his Snoke. So pissed.
I
that-
saw
yeah,
some
yeah.
wild
She did a
theory
great
that
job.
thinks that maybe he is Snoke. And that's why they cast him.
Yeah.
And that I think that's like one of those like wild Star Wars
It could have
theories.
been if they didn't come out in the.
'Cause
I mean, that'd be some
Skywalker.
serious
Well,
Shit,
shit.
someone
it was a
responded to
clone.
this theory with the comment that made me revisit some of the like the criticisms that we all had of Rise of Skywalkers, that it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
And they said that can't be the case because Snoke was created
clone.
in that lab on
Could have
Exo
cloned
to be a
Circus.
proxy for Palpatine, so Palpatine wouldn't have to come back. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was
That
the.
was, they, well, I mean, they
man.
freaking rushed through it.
Yeah, I
They-
was
don't
like,
think about it. Don't think
that seems
about
like a
it.
major
It's
plot point that
fucking
I don't
terrible.
remember. for
It
a
would have
movie I
been
watched a
awesome
bunch
if
of times.
Palpatine came back if it felt like they built up to it.
Yeah.
It was just like a throwaway line, which
Well, it's
is
a running
obviously
joke.
a
This-
meme now.
The meme is with the Oscar Isaac, like somehow blah 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 has returned, and you just enter in Donald
Yeah.
Trump or blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Like, it's now just
Somehow.
a meme that goes around the internet.
Well, I
It's
thought
like,
of that,
goddamn.
that prison, like that storyline of how being able to turn. I think his name is what is it? Kino, which is a great name.
Is that the Andy Serkis?
Yeah, Andy Serkis, where they were just like, no one's getting out. They moved one guy from Section 4 to Section 2. It got out, and they made it fried everybody on.
And it
the
was a
line.
mistake, right?
It was a
Like they didn't
mistake.
mean to do that. Or how was it that they took him to 2?
Yeah, why did they kill everyone? Do we know?
Because they say
The secret was out.
the secret that no one is leaving.
That when
out.
you think you're getting
Oh.
released, you just get relocated to a different floor, and everyone will never get out of here. It's a lifetime of labor to
Yeah.
build the
Oh,
Death
it's
Star.
kind of
Never get
like
out.
And everyone got hip to it, and
like
they were
Logan's Run or whatever.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that old flick where everyone thinks they're getting like put into a different body, but they actually
Yes.
just or Soylent Green is people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I guess the idea is they don't know that the prisoners are communicating through hand signals, which is how word is spreading
Oh, shit.
about what went down there. Because they thought they could just kill all these people and make it go away,
Yeah.
but the word got out. And so now clearly, as I'm sure we'll see in the next
massive
episode, I feel
prison
like the
break.
prison break is the next
It's going to be
episode.
gnarly.
Yeah.
That prison break is not going to go well.
Yeah.
No.
It will be gnarly. I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Serkis dies in the process.
Oh, yeah.
He's like one of the heroes that makes the escape
Sacrifice.
happen, but he ain't gonna make it out.
Well, you could see the moments where he wins, where Cassian wins him over, where he's helping out a guy because he's obviously compassionate. Where
Yeah, sure.
he's calling Ula, and the doctor didn't want to say his name, and Cassian was like, his name. He has a name. And you could see that subtle, like, okay, he's a sympathetic person.
Yep.
And he's seeing like, okay, I've been such a hard ass for these years because I'm just damn focused. I got 217 days to get
Yep.
out of here, and now it's like, oh my god.
I'm never gonna get out of here.
get out of here. And you could tell all he wants to do is get out of there.
Well, that's what's so fun because you've watched him be such a hard ass,
Yeah.
and now you know that all that fucking hard ass energy has now been immediately recalibrated towards fuck these people, how do we get out of here? And it's just exciting to be like, oh yeah, let's fucking get into this.
And how charming Andor is. Like, why don't you just tell me how many people, like, and he's like, don't talk about it, don't tell. He's like, come on, before you leave, just tell me. Tell me what you know.
Right.
So it's like you can see, like, as soon as they cut to Cassian in that scene, it was, he's charming, he's won over everybody in this his section, and it's a cool.
And another small theme that became a big theme in A New Hope with the the little port that was like the Death Star's weakness. The weakness on here is like they're not monitoring them as close because they think of these people as like less than less than human even.
That's right.
Like they could probably. What's Andor say is like they don't care about us enough to even listen.
That's right.
They're so fat and satisfied. Like they don't care.
The Empire is so big and arrogant, they don't like, oh, this little small hole in the fucking, this massive Death Star is not a problem. Like, these people will never even be able to get here because we're so badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we'll fry them all and get more.
Exactly.
So we could just arrest 1,000 more people.
Yep.
Because obviously they're just arresting people for any reason.
Correct. Pulling them off the streets.
And I think the big reason they're trying to get a lot of workers is to probably build the Death Star.
Yeah.
We always just curious, who the fuck built that thing, dude?
Yeah. It's crazy genius. It's just they found this big old hole to work within in the overall Star Wars storyline.
Right.
And Gilroy was like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
I've got a whole genius War and Peace level story to explain one of the most interesting things that like the entire original trilogy
probably the biggest thing.
There's so many things like this to explore. You don't have to have Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fight 500 times.
Amen.
No.
It's like y'all could like go in and like kind of maybe be creative.
It's so cool because it's like as soon as the New Hope starts, there's obviously the conflict's already there, and you don't get any context about how this happened, and then you get a little in the prequels, but it was so poorly done, and then you're supposed to just jump right into this, and so they are just filling this timeline of creating that tension, creating that, like, you're scared. Like, like you really feel the stakes in this show. And I don't think I've watched a show where I feel the stakes this much.
It's Game of Thrones level. In, like, the first, like, 3 seasons, when you had all these different characters, and even within the good guys, there's different factions within the good guys. It's like, well, some of the good guys are ready to just be, like, full-on, like, eco-terrorists and fuck shit up. And some are like, well, wait a minute, we can't go too... You know what I mean? Yeah. That's really... that level of nuance, that it's not just good guys, bad guys. There's good guys, bad guys, and within those two factions, there's differing attitudes about how to go about it. It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah,
from
some
a
think they can take like a political standpoint.
Yeah.
And then there's cats that are like, no, we gotta fight.
But how do you fight? Like it's a David Goliath type thing.
What's the tactic?
I want to fight. I feel this way, but like Andor says, like, do you even know who you're up against? It's
like when
I know who I'm up against. I'm staying on the sidelines because, I mean, I know what I'm up against, and it's not worth it. They will crush us.
And then you've got Luthen, who's like, I'm ready to go balls to the wall, but I also know how much fucking money we're going to need to go balls to the wall.
It's smart.
And Mothma's like down for that, trying to get the money, but now that shit's hitting the fan, it's clear that what's going to happen is a breaking point's about to happen, where she's just going to be, I'm a rebel, I'm leaving Coruscant, and she's just going to be, what, like... I think that's going to be the fun thing to see is how this season ends. Will like Luthen and Mon Mothma and Vel and all of them just be like in some secret rebel, like the first ever tiny rebel base?
When do they flee?
Yeah, like what's the first organized location where all these people are in the same place?
Yeah, how many years are we from
New
5?
Rogue? Okay, so I wonder where they end up on. Where is that like Aztecian base?
Yavin?
Yavin?
Yeah.
Was that where he went and saw Saul? Or
Yavin 5?
Because it looked different.
No,
the same vibe, but like,
at some point, Saul's going to end up on Jeddah.
Yeah, you're right.
At some point. And dude, like Krennic's got to pop up at some point.
Yeah.
Who?
Inspector Krennic, the guy that oversaw the Death Star.
Okay.
The Imperial baddie from Rogue One.
Right.
Who's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
yes.
Correct. God, it makes me want to rewatch Rogue One, but I'm also sort of like, it might be more fun to wait until and treat it like the series finale, because that's what it'll be.
Rogue One's way better now.
It's about to become the series finale to Andor.
I might not be able to wait between season 1
and
2.
We'll eventually watch it.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, I don't want to get too deep into this because it's kind of boring, but a lot of this stuff does mirror like the American Revolution.
Yeah.
It's like when Britain tried to like be like just crush us and tell us to shut the fuck up is when we finally was like, all right, well, I guess we got to fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they would have just given us like some representation in Parliament and like weren't such dicks, then we could still be a fucking British colony.
What's the metaphor? It's like you've gotten so used to eating the scraps from the table.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
in Braveheart, isn't it? It's like you've been eating the scraps from the table. You've forgotten your God-given right to something more.
Something more.
Something more.
That Braveheart flick was
it's
good.
like, but it's the same kind of
Braveheart.
struggle, right? It's like
Yeah.
the second they take that one
tread on
step
me.
Yeah.
to where they've
Yeah.
gone. It's like oppression is like bad, 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 and then there's that line where it's like, oh fuck, where they snap,
And then
the
it could
people
take
you're
one
oppressing.
small thing like the Crispus ass thing. You're like, all right, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Luthen clearly knows that, which
Yeah.
is why
Well, he
the
wants
whole
it.
Aldani thing was to push them to make that.
He
thing.
wants people to. He's
It's
like,
fucking smart, man. It's really
smart.
And I was thinking too, watching it, a couple episodes, like, how are they affording this? But honestly, when you think about the last 2 episodes. They're all really existing within like 5 to 7 sets,
Right.
And most of the scenes are dialogue based,
And
even the action
exteriors are extended with CG,
Right.
which looks great.
yeah.
But I
everything
mean,
looks
they're
great.
not doing these elaborate like stunts every episode. But again,
You're right.
to your point, the genius of the tension in the writing is that I never feel like I'm missing out.
No.
The tension
Yeah.
is just as high as if there were action sequences in every episode because of the quality of the storytelling.
the
But also
stakes.
means that when we get what will inevitably be the second throwdown of the season in the 11th
Dude, we're about to
12th
get
episode.
like Escape from Alcatraz / The Great Escape, 2
Yeah.
classic flicks that I love. Some sort of shit. I would be surprised if they kind of reference those two.
Yeah, totally. Do you think that the Prison Break will be fully completed in the next episode, or do we think that that's going to be part of the? Like, I'm wondering how far this season.
It's
will
hard
go.
to say.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I were to guess, I would have thought they would have started. I would have thought that there would have been a break this season, this episode,
This
if I had
episode?
to bet. But
Same.
they built even more tension.
Yeah.
That's what Game of Thrones did, dude.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Something's gonna happen.
That's
Something's
what I
gonna
mean.
happen.
That's right.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then finally something happened.
And then
but
remember the red wedding, and you're like,
what the fuck?
fuck?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
red wedding, dude.
Yeah, no one will ever forget that scene.
The thing is, with
Thank God I didn't read those books.
Same.
Because
when
that
you
was
don't
some
know,
shit.
Like, I don't know. When that's the it's such great writing. Whereas I don't know what's going to
Yeah,
happen
you really
next.
don't.
And it could be the next. Maybe they just hint at the prison break. But there's so many aspects going on, and there's so many great storylines. It's like they could take us in a whole new direction. And it's like I love that idea of like I have no idea.
Yeah.
What are they going to do next? And I'm so excited.
It's
like,
so crazy that they pulled this off without having like source material. The Game of
Yeah.
Thrones had this dude who
You're right.
he devoted decades of his life
Yep.
to come up with these stories, and these guys like.
Great point.
I'd love to know how the fuck long this took to write,
Amen.
I love his
because this
commitment
is
to
some
it.
very intricate.
I mean, he says straight up, this is a 5-year chunk of his life where he's not thinking about anything else.
I love that.
He just
I
said,
love
for
that.
5 years, I'm the guy that makes Andor.
I'm
And-
sick of BS in the Star Wars.
I
world.
hope your
People
marriage
just-
is doing good, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I watched an episode of Mandalorian last night after watching this new episode, and don't worry, I'm not going to go shit on the Mandalorian, but it's striking how childish the
Yeah.
Mandalorian feels when you go straight from an episode
Well, dude,
of Andor
New Hope
into
probably
that.
feels childish compared to this.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still Mandalorian still felt great.
Yeah.
It's just clearly a different flavor. It's
This
like
is-
This is
serving
literally
up
the
this
first
far.
time that they did this.
Yeah.
Well, I
know.
guess Rogue One, but it still kind of felt Star Wars-y.
Yeah, well, it was a
Yeah.
movie and it needed like the
Yeah.
traditional story
And it was the
structure.
first standalone flick.
Yeah, I remember that because they had Solo between they did like when they did the trilogy, they had a movie come out between
Yeah.
each trilogy.
Right.
Rogue One was the first of the sequel trilogy. I want to do a shout out here to my sorry guy,
Do it.
my nephew who dressed. He loves Star Wars. He wanted to be on the show.
Did
Dressed
he
up as a
dress up?
A little stormtrooper.
Do you have some?
well, I got a picture
you have
of him.
a
Yeah.
hologram.
He really wanted to be on the show,
Look at this guy.
so we're gonna
Oh,
put
man.
Emerson up there.
What's his name again?
Emerson.
Nice work,
He was,
Emerson.
and he wasn't a clone. He was a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So let that be known.
What's
Yeah.
the fucking difference?
Make sure there's no
big,
confusion there.
big difference.
I think we're gonna get Prison Break in the next episode, and the last two, in terms of the like specifically the Andor storyline.
I'm really excited to
My
see this
hunch is
next
he's
shit.
gonna have to go back to Ferrex.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna get out, and now he realized the extent of the Empire and now this is not something he can avoid anymore and run from.
Yeah,
and he's
he
going to go
tried.
back for Bix and
He's
all
like,
that.
I'm gonna make love to this beautiful girl. I'm gonna spend these
beautiful.
credits.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the store.
He lost his
Yeah, we're
credits.
gonna go
His
to the
credits are
store.
gone.
Yeah.
He lost all of his credits.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
They're on top of the shower in that. On
So
that
he's going to have to
Paradise
scrap
Planet.
by.
I'd
Which, by
swing
the
back.
way, he's like now the most wanted man in the galaxy, according to the Empire. So
Yeah.
that's not going to make moving around very easy anymore. And
He's got to go underground.
he's going to roll up to Ferrix, and his mother's probably going to die in some capacity, and Bix may or may not be rescued. And I feel like that's going to be the end of the season, is whatever drama plays out when he returns, and then in parallel, the Mon Mothma Vel. It's also interesting that in this last episode, we saw no updates to the Luthen story. So Luthen's clearly going to have to make moves in the next episode just to keep that story going. And obviously, I think his story is pretty tied to Mon Mothma since they're both in Coruscant.
Yes, I think my theory is that they're all the big heads are going to come together at the end. Like
I think so too.
saw Mon Mothma, maybe Lutheran, and Andor. That like that where almost like I think we're going to see the beginning of the crew, because like you said, season 2 is like time jumps.
Yeah, 4 years.
So I think maybe I don't, but that they're all gonna like Mon Mothma's gonna meet Andor, and I think we're gonna find the beginning of the core group of the
Well, and
rebellion.
something's obviously going to have to happen, because at the moment, Luthen still got Vel out there trying to fucking kill
and I think
Andor.
you're right. I think Luke might die. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know, and
Yeah.
that's so exciting.
It is
Yeah,
exciting.
we don't know.
It's so exciting.
It's
this show.
cool.
When was the last time we watched Star Wars storytelling where there was this much genuine uncertainty about what happens next? You can
Well,
always get some sense.
I could probably pinpoint back when we really to figuring out if Vader was actually Luke's father.
Yeah.
Remember we had to spend like 2 years fucking in puberty
Yep.
trying to figure that shit out.
right,
What's going on?
totally.
Man.
Did you guys believe Vader when you were children?
I was too young. I was born in 82. So
When
by the-
I watched when my brothers brought
I saw it in the theater, dude.
my point is, when I watched it and was able to understand it, I could immediately then watch Jedi.
Return of the
So
Jedi.
I didn't have
dude,
to wait.
I saw it. I'm like 5 years older than you. That's just enough time,
Correct.
for me to have seen it in a theater.
When you're a kid, there's a big
That's kinda
difference
very
between
exciting,
2 years
though.
old and 7 years old.
Yeah.
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 I don't even remember. I was just so excited when I got to see Jedi
Yeah.
that I wasn't really thinking about that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But I remember kind of thinking about it.
I remember when I believed him, because it was such a power with that he was his father.
Yeah.
That's a whole
probably 'cause
other.
I was young. I was like, yeah, that's
We
definitely.
could probably do a
like, nobody
original
lies to people.
trilogy.
Yeah, right.
We should do an original trilogy podcast
yes,
if there's
we
ever a
definitely
lull
need to.
between
Sure.
shows.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I remember not believing him. But
Your
fuck,
father, he
back
is.
to Andor.
Back to Andor.
Yeah,
Well,
I
mean,
could also see at the end of the season, this is just kind of like fun wish
Yeah,
list
I love
stuff,
this.
where I don't want to see a whole scene yet where Palpatine's walking around making orders, but it would be badass if like the closing scene of season 1 of Andor was like the Emperor from behind, you know what I mean? Like standing in like a darkened Senate or something, or like,
Right.
you know, the last scene
That
is like
music,
him just
that-
walking into a room. Maybe you don't even see his face, or you
Hey,
just
does
see,
he
you know,
fuck
how it,
with
like hangs
turning
over his
up?
eyes.
that music he has.
Enough to
That's
just
a
tell
good-
that it's Ian McDiarmid and it is the Emperor. And again, because at this point in the process, he won't look quite as gnarly yet, right? I mean, this is like post Revenge of the Sith, pre.
He looked pretty fucked
He's
up at
pretty
the end of
gnarly.
Sith.
He's pretty gnarly. He gets fucked up in Revenge of the Sith.
Right, I just don't ever watch those, so I forgot.
it's-
Because Disney
He-
like isn't part of the process. He turns in real time. Like doesn't he start
that's
like by the
Mace Windu. Yeah,
Right.
and he gets all burnt.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So he looks pretty.
You can see how much I've like. It's like when you've had like a trauma
couldn't
as a
even finish
child
it.
and your
Do you
brain
guys-
blocks it out.
Dude,
Yeah.
you probably only seen Revenge of the Sith once, huh?
Like twice, probably.
Okay.
All
I
the way
started
through.
watching-
I made you
yeah.
watch it once.
I've
Ugh.
probably seen it all the way through and I didn't get interrupted twice. And then at times, like chunks of it to revisit a thought or idea. And every time I'm just like, fuck this.
I started
It's the
watching-
best of the three, but it's not that good.
I couldn't finish it.
I can't.
I think Phantom Menace is the best of the three.
I agree.
Maybe I think you're probably right, actually.
But I mean,
I
it's
couldn't
like
finish.
it's like taking a shit and looking in the bowl though and choosing which turd is your favorite.
Yeah.
you know?
Which
There's
one of you
only one
dickweeds?
scene in Revenge that I thought was powerful, and that was that moment where you were waiting, where Mace Windu goes to get Palpatine, and Anakin's just kind of pacing, and it's like, don't do it, man. That was the only really powerful scene, I think, maybe of that whole trilogy, where it's like that turn of him deciding to stop that took the steps to going to the dark side, because he could have just stayed where he was, not get involved,
Yeah.
and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
So that was the only scene And of course, the John Williams music was there. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, Williams.
But this Andor.
It's also worth mentioning that the Andor music is great. Now, it's not great in that I think it's like the most memorable thing in the room, so to
No,
speak.
but it works.
It's fitting.
But
for what
it's
it is.
appropriate, and I think I think it's wise that if you're not going to use all the original Star Wars themes, to not, like, I think they got lucky with Mandalorian that music has an identity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they'll be able to like create that every series.
No.
Yeah, they
Like-
kind of pull from like spaghetti westerns on Mando.
Yeah.
Nailed it. You're right.
And that was even kind of hard to get used to. But now that
It
we're
was
like,
people were stoked in the beginning. The first couple episodes of Mando, I was like, I don't know that I'm into this like rollicking, or like the percussion and some of the weird sounds. Like it didn't. Now, by the time you get 6 episodes in and you're like initiated to the
character,
world,
I had to.
you're like, all right, this is cool. It makes sense now.
Anything that wasn't John Williams took me an adjustment period.
Same.
I was even kind of bummed about Rogue One music. I was like, this is kind of dry,
Yeah.
humpy.
Yeah.
It's hard to not hear Star Wars music in Star Wars.
Yeah, but now we're farther along and this has happened and it's smart. I mean, I'm more accepting.
Yeah.
Well, it's also because unlike in Obi-Wan, those characters are attached to the music in your brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
if you're gonna, you got it. They should have used that
Yeah,
music.
so it's like
I mean, they're
it-
literally those characters' themes.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's not offensive anymore because none of the characters we're watching have any attachment to those
Yeah.
themes at all.
And I actually don't think those themes fit the
tone.
environment,
They really
the tone
don't.
of the
Same.
show.
It
So
would be
I
weird
actually
to have
think
this
it would
like
be out of place.
fanfare and whatever else, and
Yeah.
this like kind of like darker. I will say, someone I can't remember. Someone commented on YouTube on the last episode about wanting more comic relief, and I think we touched on this. And I'm not missing it, but I do think that there's that droid that's in Rogue One is going to eventually,
Yeah.
before this series is done, become Andor's sidekick.
I could see him
Yeah.
being season 2 operation.
Yeah.
And or that's actually
Nice.
Never bring back that little guy.
that wasn't
Me
on
too.
purpose, but
Me
yeah.
too.
And also, if his adopted mother eats shit and dies, who's going to take care of B2
That old
Emo?
bat's gonna die.
So it could
What
just
if he
be,
puts Emo's thing inside the droid? Because they kind of have the similar voice. I
Oh,
know
you
it was
know
the
what?
guy from Frasier, but I don't know.
That's
But
not a bad
there is
thought.
there is subtle comedy in it. Like it's like dark, like when Karn, his mom, he starts slurping his milk, like
Yeah.
and he had to like. So there's some tiny bits, but yeah, when B2 Emo, that's 2 lies. Like just like
B2
those.
Emo's.
But I
is
can't
the
wait to
best.
see that fucking droid again.
I would like to get B2 Emo on the podcast.
Oh man, I'd love to get.
But anyway, y'all, man, I am
feeling great.
It's great. Lots of fun
The
speculation.
tension is very. It's there.
It's legit.
At
Very
some point,
excited.
we're gonna need another release.
Yep.
I know. It's coming. I mean, there's 3 episodes
It
left.
is coming.
And then Mando's right around the corner.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
We
I'm
got a
very.
lot. It's gonna be great. All right, I think
I'm actually a little scared about Mando. Like,
I'm not.
Well, it's going to be interesting to go back to Mando World after living in Andor for 12
and also
episodes.
after they like shot such a massive Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
wad.
The trailer
Yeah.
for Mando looked pretty fun.
I didn't
Really
even
did
see
look
it.
good.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't see the Mando
You
trailer?
didn't see
Is
the
it-
Mando
when is it
trailer?
out? Today?
No, it was out months
months ago.
I probably saw it.
It's really good.
He's right. It actually is really
it looks
good.
really good.
It looks
If,
like they're
if
staying on-
Favreau is
He's
like,
in that Naboo starfighter now, and it's just he's just cruising.
if Favreau is actually like super involved, it's gonna be dope.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's great. And even Tales of the Jedi wasn't terrible. I know I like.
I didn't hate it.
That's y'all. I'm
But-
out.
for an animated thing. It's pretty good. I mean,
Don't watch it, dude. You'll just
Yeah,
get
don't watch
pissed.
I'll just be less cranky. I'll be
Yeah.
a happier Star Wars
Yeah, just
fan
don't
if
do
I
it.
just politely take a knee on the animated shit.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. But it's the best animated stuff I've
Yeah.
seen. If the Clone Wars animated series was more like Tales
I like
of the
Rebel
Jedi,
season 1.
Yeah.
Well, shit, y'all. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to cut. I don't want to fucking.
I'm
I love you
done.
guys, but you lost your mind
Yeah.
on the animated stuff.
You're
That's okay.
cut off.
Yeah, I guess let's blow this shit next
Yep.
week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Send in your videos if you want. We'll get you in the mix on the screen here. And Curtis, fucking punch it.
blow the chip stand.